Hi, everybody. I'm Tim Donnelly, voice of the Charlotte Rush. We have a special Charlotte Rush General Managers update for Rush Nation, our fans, our parents, our players. And we're privileged to have with us for the update the general manager and owner of the Charlotte Rush, Ryan Crothers. Ryan, thanks so much for being with us on this special General Managers Update Zoom call.
No, I appreciate it, Tim. It's been a while since I've been able to see you. I appreciate you taking some time out to update, I guess, everyone on our team and everything that's going on right before our Thanksgiving here and a big weekend against Hampton coming up.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. But the big reason for the call is just you had wanted to update Rush Nation and everybody about the current COVID situation with the team. It's affecting all kinds of sports teams. And unfortunately, it's also affecting the United States Premier Hockey League and the Charlotte Rush. But Ryan, I want to go way back because this COVID crisis drastically affected the Charlotte Rush in just its basically second day of existence back on March the 11th when it canceled the Premier Championship playoffs in Boston. So the Rush organization got hit almost immediately.
Yeah, it's been, when you go back that far and you think about it, it's affected not just this year's group, but last year's group as well. And as an organization, and like many organizations in the USPHL and all the other leagues, our season was cut short right before our first game of the finals there. And we had a really strong team going into the finals that we were excited about. And unfortunately, COVID put a stop to that. And it's obviously adjusted the landscape in which we're playing now and the way that we play and the way that we go about our day-to-day business. And it's unfortunate, but, I think the USPHL has done an excellent job with their protocols and the way that we operate in order to keep the kids on the ice and keep playing. So it's definitely affected our schedule, as you're well aware of. We've had cancellations of games and had to move some things around, and our schedule and our showcases have been canceled. So it's been a logistical headache, but if it can keep the guys on the ice and playing and competing, then I know the USPHL and Charlotte Rush are going to do everything we can to continue moving forward, and hopefully that COVID doesn't have too long of a lasting effect on our season and our team. And we've been hit pretty hard over the last month right now with a lot of different players, coaches, and staff. So we're doing our best to get through it, doing everything that we can to keep our fans and our families and our billet families up to date with everything that's going on. And we'll continue to push forward, and hopefully better days are ahead.
Ryan, I want to make it clear to all of Rush Nation and our viewers today is that the protocols that were instilled by the USPHL and the Charlotte Rush, I thought were very strict. The Rush carried them out to a T. But one of the things I think a lot of people don't realize, there is a cost to these protocols, and the teams have to absorb that cost. It's quite a significant sum, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And you know what? The families have supported it as well. And, the league has done a great job in finding ways with this testing. We're testing before every overnight stay, and we have our test on hand. So we're able to get rapid results for our players, especially, when they're not feeling well. We're able to kind of stop it before it gets out of hand and spreads through the team. And, the biggest effect it has is the exposure. It could be one thing for one player or staff member to have it, but then it depends who they're in close contact with. And, we've had a lot of players shut down. This weekend's no different. We're going to be extremely shorthanded. But it keeps the players on the ice. And I think with the investment we've made in the testing kits and being able to get instant results, we're able to stop the spread throughout the teams when we do get a positive case. Which, whether it's a billet family, whether it's a player or a coach, hopefully we're able to consolidate it to affecting a small group so that the team can continue on and play. And when those players get healthy or their quarantine time is up, they can join us. So, a lot of credit goes to the league and the people behind the scenes that have done that, and to our players and our billet families. I think that's one thing that's, very impressive this year with everything going on in the world, to see the support of the billet families and opening up their homes during a pandemic with players that are playing and traveling and keeping their homes open and their families. I can't thank them enough, because without these billet families on a normal year, we don't have a program, but let alone during this pandemic. I really do want to thank the billet families for what they've been able to do and endure, and it's kept us on the ice and it's kept our team intact.
We have a great group of billet families, that's for sure. Very happy about that. They're so good. and the players love staying there. So we're very happy and very fortunate for sure. We're visiting with Ryan Crothers, the general manager and owner of the Charlotte Rush, mainly talking about the COVID situation and how it's been affecting the team. Ryan, you and I, personal examples. You have had COVID, Julie, your wife, your kids. I got a positive diagnosis with no symptoms whatsoever last Tuesday. I think numerous players have. And then, as you alluded to earlier, we've got players that have been in contact with other players. So then you have to take some additional steps there. But uh, give us the recent update right now as to how many players have been affected and the whole situation with staff, players, and everybody.
Yeah, it's been a lot. From a staff perspective, I think that's the thing that's affected this team the most is, we haven't had any continuity. We've had no rhythm that we're used to, and we look at our team and we look at the results that we've had on the ice, and we've said from the beginning COVID was not going to be an excuse for anything. We would never use that excuse, but it's definitely had an effect on us. It's definitely something where we have two young hockey teams this year. We're a lot younger than we are traditionally, and having no practice, rhythm, and repetition, our job is to develop hockey players, and we haven't had the players on a consistent basis because of the shutdowns, whether a player was affected or had direct exposure from a billet brother or someone they sit next to in the locker room. We haven't had the opportunity to develop these players daily like we're used to, and I think that's hampered how quick or maybe how slowly we've progressed as a group, being that we're so young and not having that many practices and touches and getting into a rhythm. And same can be said for the coaching staff. We've had a couple coaches affected by it. Troy was out for a few weeks, so he wasn't with his group. So, I stepped in and helped out where I could. And then at the same time, our video coordinator, Ray Sylvester, was shut down as well because of
Oh,
the
no.
with Troy. And then, Trevor got shut down as well. And then it was just, me and Ray for a couple of days. And then Troy was out of quarantine and was able to join us for the weekend of games. And then Trevor was still shut down. And next thing you know, me and Ray are shut down again. So Troy had a coach all last weekend by himself and, 3 or 4 practices by himself. So even the consistency of the coaching staff and the coaching that these players are getting, as much as we're on the same page, it's been different voices. It's been really tough and challenging. Just when you think you have something going on, it gets taken away. I thought going into the Charleston weekend, we came off of a bye weekend, so we were really healthy and feeling really good about our roster and our team. And we went there and won 4 games and played extremely well. And, we had the addition of CJ Zesma that weekend, and he had a great weekend, put up a good amount of points. And then next weekend he shut down, as well, right? So just when you think you have things going, he's shut down, and then we lose a couple more players. So we just haven't been able to find that rhythm. And I think that's been the lasting effect of this thing. But to your point, you tested positive. Unfortunately, my family went through it, got hit pretty good with it. And, the same can be said for a lot of teams and coaches. And, we didn't play Hampton the first weekend we were supposed to because it was going through their staff and team. So it's just hopefully I think the teams have done a great job of keeping a hold of it so that you can continue to play. But you're not playing with the same roster necessarily daily. And I think that's been a challenge for us with the Rush is having a young team and trying to find a way to get them the proper coaching and repetitions. But we're not going to use it as an excuse. We'll just keep continuing to hopefully get through this and everyone gets healthy. And hopefully we'll be playing our best hockey at the end of the year.
Yeah, Ryan, you actually answered my next question because I was going to ask you about that as well. The last 3 Rush weekends where we've played, uh, the results at Carolina and at Richmond were mixed. Great weekend at Charleston against the Colonials, but I think you pretty much alluded to the fact I was going to ask you. Because of the COVID and the practices and different players shut down and all that, it sounds like that. We know the Rush standard is very, very high as far as winning, but it sounds like with all that's taking place, you and the coaching staff are taking that all into the consideration with some of the mixed results we've had recently.
Yeah, we're not. I mean, yeah, as you know, we have a standard here and a way that we want to do things, and we're not living up to that standard, and we're not winning like we traditionally do. But we're in a good spot. We feel good. We're getting a lot of repetitions for a lot of guys. A lot of guys are getting game experience. So for the lack of practice repetition, I think a lot more guys are seeing game action that they might not see necessarily if we were 100% healthy. So in that regard, it's good because more players are getting opportunities to showcase what they have, and we've preached here that's going to be important when we get healthy because it's a performance based industry, and the guys that are playing the best hockey at the right time are going to be the ones that are in the lineup. So, and I think the staff has done an excellent job. Especially Ray Sylvester, our video guy, is even though he can't be there day to day through his quarantine times when he was out. Just doing video and doing small groups with the coaching staff or doing Zoom calls like we're doing now, and still getting our video in and still getting the development off the ice. I think the staff's done an excellent job, and the players have made themselves available and have bought in. And it's a different way of learning, and it's we've taken advantage of that. We have a great group of guys. We're really excited about our team. Both teams. I mean, both teams. There's a lot of good character in the locker room. There's good leadership. And it's really good hockey team. I don't think the results on the weekend have been any indication of who we really are as a team. And I think we'll start to see our team come, full circle as the year goes on, and we get those practices like I spoke about, and we don't even have like line combinations or power plays. Just when you go into a practice, you think you have a nice power play, somebody's out with COVID, or somebody was exposed to it and they're out, and you're plugging holes. So just when you patch one, then another one springs, and it's seems like we've been chasing it. We've been trying to chase these things down, and every time we feel real good, something else pops up. But I know we're not the only ones. The Richmonds, the Carolinas, they've all had it. So it's not an excuse for the result on the weekend, but believe it or not, if you look back, traditionally we've had these little bumps in the road as we start to find our identity and guys start to buy into our culture and realize what the expectations are here. So again, not where we want to be standing wise, but long term, big picture where we're at, we're very happy and we're excited about what the next few months will bring.
And again, we've got a lot of hockey to be played yet. We're just hoping this COVID thing will ease up a little bit. We've had a big spike the last 30 days. So we're hoping maybe that that will subside and we can really get back to putting the team together, as I know you and Trevor and Troy want to do. But there have been, as you said, some silver linings to it as well. Ryan Crothers, owner and general manager of the Charlotte Rush, visiting with us on this very special General Manager's Update Zoom call on this Monday, November 23rd. Ryan, you and I both love the ECHL. You were a player there. You're on the Wall of Fame with the Reading Royals, and I was the broadcaster for the Charlotte Checkers for 13 years in the league. But look at how COVID has affected the ECHL. I know you're keeping track of it. The whole Northern Division just last week opted out of the ECHL. Two other teams had opted out earlier, Atlanta and Norfolk. And then now you've got a set of teams that are going to hopefully be starting in 3 weeks, and then another set of teams that aren't going to be starting until January. So we are not the only league that's had to really come up with some creative solutions to keep going.
Yeah, and I think you alluded to it there. It's just we just hope we can keep playing. We hope that this season can continue on. The recent spike, a few shutdowns in certain states, it's definitely scary. It would be very disappointing if it gets to that point where we do need to shut down. Like I said, I think our protocols hopefully keep us playing, and hopefully there's no more spikes and this thing gets control again. But the ECHL, I feel bad for those guys. It's affecting everybody, and the ECHL, obviously I spent a lot of my career in that league, and you hate to see it, not just for the players, but for those cities and those fans and coaches and owners, and nobody wants to shut down, but it's tough times right now. You just saw the North American League in the Midwest is going to take a 4 or 5 week break because of shutdowns in Minnesota and things of that nature. So there's only so much you can control, and we have to, keep sight of that we're just going to keep doing whatever we can to keep playing and keep our players on the ice, and hopefully rinks stay open, and hopefully we're allowed to continue to play regardless of what our roster looks like. And I think our teams in our league have done a great job of that. We're going to play shorthanded this weekend because it's the right thing to do. Be very easy for us to take the weekend off and wait till we get healthy. But it's for us the right thing to do is to keep kids playing and keep them on the ice, regardless of what this result might be. If it's a win or if it's a loss or you're shorthanded. I think some people have lost sight of the mental health side of this thing as well. It's no way to live life locked up like this, but you have to, you got to take the right precautions. You wear your mask, you do the things you're supposed to do, and hopefully we can continue to have some normalcy. But, I look at it from the youth hockey level too. This is no way for kids to have to play and grow up. And it's hard on adults. It's hard on junior hockey players. It's hard on the youth. And, it's hard on professionals. I know the NHL guys didn't like living in a bubble much either. I'm sure there's good days and bad days, but sacrifices were made so that people can play and enjoy our sport. And, my heart does go out to especially, Reading, where I spend a ton of time, that fan base and coaching staff, and, and the players who, some out of college or juniors are just going to play their first professional hockey games and work their whole lives in order to do that, even at that level. And it's sad for them. It's sad for guys who maybe were just going to do it one more year, and just play one more year. And now that year is taken away from them. So it's just sad. Hopefully, we can get back to some normalcy, like I mentioned. And I wish the other teams best of luck as they try and put a season together in the ECHL, and whatever that is. I know it's best for the players and the fans, and hopefully they do it safely, and we can get some sort of hockey.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got a local junior hockey update coming up too in our Zoom call just in a little bit. So be watching for that. We're excited to announce a major announcement regarding that. Ryan, I did want to ask you. You mean you're not going to pull Florida State this weekend? We're actually going to go to Hampton Roads.
Yeah, I didn't want to end up on ESPN talking about how we could have played, but you know what? We both Hampton had to cancel on us. We had to cancel on them last
Hmm.
time, and like I said, it's we like our team too. Like we have enough guys to play, and we're gonna go play, and we're gonna go out there and try and win two hockey games. It's obviously a heated rivalry. Two very good programs, but you know what? We have a few days to prepare. Hopefully, we lost a few guys today, which is good because we were off today, so they didn't enter our locker room.
Mm.
It's just amazing the things you have to think about, and some things you're grateful for is finding some positive cases on an off day because we haven't really seen each other in a bit here. So we'll be able to get inside with our group and hopefully get 3 or 4 good practices together, and then head to Hampton and hopefully come back with 4 wins. So, but no, we're not going to cancel games because of our roster. We like the guys that we have, and we do think it's super important to play as much hockey as you can while we're still allowed, and hopefully that can continue throughout the rest of the season.
And by the way, we were alluding to the NCAA D1 football game this past week between Clemson and Florida State, where Florida State kind of opted out when, at least from Dabo Sweeney's point of view, they really didn't have to. He thinks that they just didn't want to play. But the Rush is going to take who we got, and we're going to go to Hampton Roads. And Ryan, by the way, who knows? We really don't know how it's affected them. I'm sure they're not going to send us a fax or a big list of who's out for them as well, right?
Right. Yeah. You never know. And it's at the end of the day, what's most important is getting kids on the ice and developing and playing. And the rivalry is hot, and it's fun. It's fun to be a part of. It'll give a lot of our guys, some newcomers, some experience. And, I think our elite team too, there's going to be a lot of guys that get some game experience that haven't seen themselves in the lineup in a little bit for numerous reasons. The last weekend took a toll on them. A few guys that had to undergo surgeries. We're pretty beat up right now. But you know what? It's a group effort. We're a family here, and we'll find ways to compete and hopefully pick those guys up. But yeah, it's always the right thing to do to put the players first and not the wins and losses, and that's what we're going to do. And I think that's what all the teams in our league and our division have done, and credit goes to all of them.
And I know that the parents and relatives of the Charlotte Rush players have full confidence the Rush organization is going to put their health first. Ryan, you did start to talk a little bit about a couple of injuries too. In addition to all the COVID stuff, now we've had a couple of players banged up that actually needed surgeries. Update us on those guys. Our thoughts and prayers and well wishes are out to them as well. Every once in a while, you do get a surgery, but we had two recently.
Yeah, we had two this week coming out of the last weekend there against Richmond. We had a lower body injury and an upper body injury, both requiring surgeries. Immediately. So we're going to be without Sean New, and we're going to be without Dylan Causey for a little bit here. They had successful surgeries. They'll start the rehab process when they can, and we wish them the best of luck in getting better soon. And we know they're in good hands, and um, they're both doing well now and recovering. So that with some other minor injuries, we had some guys missing. I think something that we'll talk about too, Tim, is these 3-and-3s. That are coming up now that typically we don't play. The only time we ever do that is in showcases, and due to COVID and scheduling, we just played our first one, with Richmond, and
Mhm.
that takes a toll on your body, and you are going to get more injuries, unless you have the bodies to filter guys out and manage those the right way. And unfortunately, we just didn't have the bodies to filter guys in and out, and some guys took their lumps. It's always a physical series when you play Richmond. Every team in our division is always tough, so we came out of there, like you said, with a few injuries and a few bodies down, and hopefully they can get healthy soon, and hopefully some other guys can step up that are out of quarantine now. And it's tough. Like, guys that are out for 14 days, they start to lose their cardio as much as they try and do things off the ice. Um, you can't replicate that on ice skating and that on ice stamina, and so it's always a few days to get those guys back to normal. And we've been faced with guys coming out of quarantine and just going right into a game after being off for 14, 20 days, and they just get dropped right into a game. So that part's tough, but I think, like I said, going into Tuesday's practice, we should have everybody back that was quarantining, and hopefully we can get 4 good skates in with some cardio and be ready for the weekend.
So again, the Rush playing this weekend in Hampton Roads, and this was a makeup series from earlier in the season. And then right now, we're going to show you the makeup dates on the screen as you're watching this. Of course, we had to cancel our game, our weekend series on the 31st of October and the 1st with Hampton Roads. That is now going to be made up on January 1st, 2nd, and an extra set of games on the 3rd. So all that information is on your screen right now. And Ryan, you played in the ECHL. I remember it. There were some weeks we played 5 games in a week: Tuesday, Wednesday, off Thursday, and then played Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I remember Jason Daw, who played a lot in the NHL and played his last year in the ECHL here in Charlotte. And we were on the bus on that Sunday after it was going to be our 5th game in 6 days. And he said, Tim, why don't we play more games in this league? He was being facetious, of course, but you've ridden the buses and all that. But our guys are a little bit different. They're younger, they're not used to it. So, how much concern is it for you and the coaching staff?
Well, I mean, they're young too, right? So when we were riding the bus as professionals, you're older, but you know how to take care of your body a little bit. I don't miss those 4 games in 5 nights in 3 different
Mhm.
cities. I mean, we didn't really pay much attention to it. You don't mind it when you're winning and you're healthy and you're playing good. You want to play as many games as you possibly can in a short period of time because you're feeling yourself and your team's going the way you want it to. But when you're banged up and your numbers are low and you really don't feel that like you have a lot of confidence in your game, that's when those weekends get super long. And from a health standpoint, we didn't really think much about it because they are young and it's 3 games and it's one city. I think that's one of the
Mhm.
nice things for us is we get to one spot or they get to us, and you're not getting on a bus at midnight and bussing through the night and sleeping on a bus. You get to go back and get in your bed or get in your hotel room. So that helps a little bit with the recovery. But after the injuries we suffered in Richmond, and I guess the limited practices leading up to it, it took a toll on our guys' bodies. I think a little bit
Mhm.
more than we anticipated. But I think if we were practicing at a normal rate and guys were getting the proper repetitions and their body and their recoveries, I don't think the 3-and-3s would be a problem. I think we'd enjoy them. It cuts down an extra road trip, but I think with the way things have been going and guys being off for so long and then getting thrown into the 3 hard games, it did take a toll on some guys' bodies. So, hopefully, like you said, with that schedule coming up, hopefully we get enough practice where we feel like our guys are in good enough shape to endure 3-3, and we'll see how it goes. But again, it is what's best for the players. It gives us an opportunity to get more games in, less travel. So for the health of our players, from that regard, it is a better option.
Mhm.
And again, I don't think too many people are worried about the results so much as where it's a performance-based industry, and we want to win every game we play in. I think right now what's important is making sure that we are playing, and then when the playoffs come and things of that nature, and the intensity ramps up and there's a little more on the line, then we could focus on wins and losses. But right now, we're just focusing on development and just appreciating that we are on the ice.
And certainly the number of players that the Rush organization has put into the colleges certainly speaks for itself. So I know that's a big important aspect. As fans, we're always looking at the wins and losses, but at the USPHL level, there's a whole lot more involved in that. So, Ryan, the showcase event right before Christmas, is that also washed out now?
Yeah, so that's washed out. The one right after is washed out as well. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. So we lost the showcase up in New Hampshire, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Um, we're not going to go up there after Christmas as well. Florida showcase is still on, which is a
Mm,
great event for our
okay.
players. We typically tend to do extremely well in terms of recruitment at that showcase. So
Mm,
that's an important one that's still on the book. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that the team will head down to Estero and be able to play and perform. And I know I've spoken to a few schools that are going to be heading down there, so we'll keep our fingers crossed that we could play there. The showcase in Raleigh, as of now, that was rescheduled from the beginning of the year in late September. That is still on, so we'll keep our fingers crossed there as
okay.
well. So we get a couple of showcases in. That would be great. The college recruiting process is tough too. For a lot of those schools, they're trying to get a handle on what they're
Mhm.
even going to do this year, or if seniors are going to come back that are granted an extra year of eligibility. And I think recruiting's kind of taken a little bit of a backseat for some of these schools right now as they try and focus on what they're currently dealing with. But with that being said, we've had a few kids commit already. Arcadia has been a school that's going to be up and coming next season. They have
Mm.
London Strickler, our captain. Palin Brooks committed there. Um, we've had, Mike Gershon at Chatham has had the opportunity to come and watch. I mean, we've had a
Mm.
few schools, Wilkes, who has been a home for a lot of our guys as well. There's offers out to our guys. So we still feel like we're doing good in that regard. That's to us, that's the most important thing. That's why we do what we do here in Charlotte is we want to get players committed and move players on. That always comes before wins and championships. And we just feel like they go hand in hand with if you bring quality people, develop them the right way, they'll get their commitments or they'll move on to tier two hockey. And if you have enough of those guys in your room, you're going to win a lot of games and hopefully win a championship at the end of the year. That's always been our philosophy here. So we still feel like we've done a good job getting our guys exposure in a tough time and feel like we're still doing a very good job as a staff getting players committed to school.
Ryan Crothers, owner, general manager of the Charlotte Rush, wanted to do this important update about what the status is of the Rush right now. We're moving forward despite a lot of obstacles, and especially with COVID-19, but we're still continuing to press forward. Ryan, I'll tell you what, it speaks so well of the Rush organization. Uh, about a little over a month ago, we had several Rush players come back, a lot of them come back, but I had to laugh. Tyler Dill came down from Wilkes not once, but 2 weekends in a row. He drove up and back and up and back. And I'm like, he must love to be down there. We had Kyle Moore here, John Aureliano. So it speaks really well of the organization. And Ryan, I just have to laugh. Every time I think of this, it just makes me chuckle because all of those guys, when I talk to them, they just say, man, Ryan was the best coach I ever had, did so much for me. And you would say, yeah, well, they didn't say that when they were playing here. So
Yeah.
that just always made me laugh. But it's great to have those guys come back.
Oh, I love it. I mean, the alumni to me, I think that's something that I really wanted to, when we created this culture, we wanted them to feel important because they are important. They're our foundation. And I think it's just special, starting the program with a lot of those guys that you mentioned and then winning a championship with them. And like I said, I don't know if they said all those nice things about me, when they were playing for me. But you know what? When guys come into town, they always ask to come over and stop and say hello, and ask to have dinner. And guys call me all the time or FaceTime, and that means a lot to me. That's
Mhm.
why I enjoy this level, and that's why we continue to do what we do here in Charlotte. Is those lifelong relationships and the local guys here. It's nice to be able to see them and grab a bite to eat or play around the golf or watch a hockey game. I enjoy when guys come over and watch games and they want to pick your brain and talk to you about the hockey side of thing. I,
Mm.
I really do enjoy that and love that. And I do love the relationship I have with a lot of the alumni. And I like that guys want to come back here. I think it helps that Tyler Dill's brother plays here, but
Mhm.
I do think he came to see me and talk hockey. But no, I love hanging around him. He's an unbelievable human being and an athlete, and I think it's good for our players to see those guys come back and talk to them and have them on the ice. And I had two guys come over today. They just went and got their COVID test so that they could skate with the team back from college. Cam Knowlton's in town, just got in last night.
Mm.
Uh, John, as well, Jack Rydell. So all these guys, the minute they get into town, they got in late last night, and by noon they were stopping over the house to say hello and find out what time they could get on the ice with us and skate. And so it's just great to have those guys back and for them to take those measures too. Like I told them, you have to get your COVID test and you got to, restrict yourself and be in your bubble if you want to practice with us. And for them to come home on a Thanksgiving break, and Cam's from Alaska, he just came back to see billet family and friends. It speaks to that
That's
relationship.
amazing.
Yeah, it's great. It's great for our guys. They'll get to see them, and I think that'll ramp up the intensity in practice as well. And I think it's good for those guys to tell stories as to why we do what we do in the locker room. And I'm excited to have them back. I'm excited to see them. And I always love seeing our alumni and spending time with them and being a part of their lives even after playing here and what they're trying to do and accomplish. And it's a really special thing that I think we're extremely proud of.
No doubt about it, Ryan. And again, I've met so many wonderful kids these last 6 years with the Rush. And like I said, I'm an old man, but I try to stay in contact with them every once in a while. And they actually text me back pretty fast. So I said, man, these guys must be really special if they'd still text an old man like me every once in a while.
Well, they all love you, Tim. You do a lot for our players and for our organization, overall. And I think our players really respect what you do and the time that you take away from your wife and your family, and you spend that time, and you're so dedicated to your work. And like you said, to get kids to communicate and to get 20-year-olds to communicate with old guys like us, it says a lot as to how much they respect you and how much your relationship with them means to them. So I'm always happy to hear that those relationships are still going on. That means that they became better people while they were here, not just hockey players. And
Yes.
that's something that's great to hear. And I know guys always ask about Tim. Is Tim going to be there? Is Tim there this weekend? Is Tim still doing chapel? And
Mm, that's great.
hopefully we can continue to say yes for a long time.
Well, I'm very blessed, Ryan, for sure. The guys have been great. The organization's been great to me, and it's just like I said, I missed those last games on October 31st to November 1st. Man, I was ready to jump in there, but these are indeed unprecedented times. Well, I have one final question for Ryan Crothers, the Charlotte Rush owner and general manager. And Ryan, again, a little over a month ago, you made a big splash announcement that you and Troy Schwab have taken over the Charlotte Junior Checkers organization. And on top of that, we just got another big announcement. Tell us.
Yeah, we just well, you know what? It was a big announcement. It was important for us to get involved with the youth hockey in the area, and the Junior Checkers program has been a AAA program that's been a regional model throughout the Carolinas, and it's done a ton of different things, and different people have been involved and have done great jobs of keeping competitive hockey in the Carolinas. And Troy and I had the opportunity to kind of grab hold of it and take control over it, and we were excited about that opportunity. And we thought it was important to have a fresh start and a rebrand, and we were excited to announce that we were going to change our name and logo and kind of
Mm.
our association to Carolina Premier Hockey, as we do believe that we have the things in place and we have some big plans in place to be the premier youth hockey program in the Carolinas, and we wanted to make sure that we, encompass both states, as it is a regional, tier one model. And we were excited. We wanted our players to be noticed, and we wanted our players to wear something that they're proud of and represent well. And I think hockey in the South in general has gotten so much stronger and better. And I
Hmm.
think there's a lot of good people in the area and good coaches and former players, and those relationships that we have, and we're going to bring in some high-end coaches to develop these players with Troy and myself. And then we thought, okay, well, we want our players to be noticed when they're on the ice. So the Seattle Kraken had just announced their colors and their logos, and it's bright and it's noticeable and it's exciting. And we based it off of that, our color scheme, and we incorporated the North Carolina blue that the Tar Heels use. And um, we're really excited about where we're going. It's one thing to have a logo and a color and a name change, but I do think the leadership we have behind the logo and the color, and I think the plans that we have and the people that we're investing in to bring in, um, and the model that we have, and we're going to set out for these kids and families, makes puts us on the map a little bit more, and we're really excited about where that's going. Troy obviously has 3 young boys. I have 2 young boys. We're going to be doing this hockey thing for a long time, and we're just, each day we get more and more excited because we think we're that much closer to actually putting our real fingerprints, in molding these players into being, high-end athletes. I think there was for a long time, Carolina hockey was, hey, yeah, they're just from Charlotte or you're just from here. Like that's, and I think with the Rush, we heard that a lot, and we kind of, decided that we weren't going to accept that, and we were going to,
Hmm.
change what people perceived as hockey in the Carolinas. You look around, all my neighbors, everyone, no one's really from Carolina. We're all transplants. Troy's from Western Canada. I'm from New York. I mean, you looked up and down my block, there's people from Michigan, um, people from Massachusetts, New Jersey. I mean, you go up and down. So I don't think it's right to say just because we live in Carolina that we can't be high end athletes in the game of hockey. So I think it's the way that you're coached and developed, and the way that you go about your business in terms of development. So we're excited about that. It's a long-winded answer to our rebrand, but you could tell we're super excited about where we're going with the youth, and hopefully that'll lead into the junior, and hopefully we have plans for other things too. And we'll just keep trying to leave an imprint on hockey in the Carolinas. And this was a big start for us.
Yeah, and Ron, you bring up a very good point because yes, we do have a lot of transplants down here, but even the Charlotte area kids are improving by leaps and bounds. The Kyle Prestices, the Kyle Moores, and we're seeing a lot
Right.
of our guys that are taking advantage of the good coaching that we're getting. And Ryan, when I saw that announcement about the new name, I love the fact that you incorporated South Carolina too, because there's lots of hockey going on there too. We got the Stingrays in Charleston, the Colonials are in Charleston. We got youth hockey in Columbia. So really glad you incorporated South Carolina in there too.
Yeah, we want players from all over the Carolinas, and that's what our model is set out to be. And you got Greenville too, and there's just so much good hockey, and there's things for players to look up to with the minor league pro teams, and then you got the Hurricanes are doing an excellent job of creating a good positive buzz on that side of the state, and they're winning, and they got a great coaching staff, and it's trickling down through their youth. This weekend we played against Rod Brindamore's son, and he's
Mm.
on the bench, and it's good to see those guys involved. And it's only just going to make the game of hockey better, better coaching and better development, and then people that really love it and wear their heart on their sleeve. And I think that's what we're doing over on this side. And we are super excited about what we can bring to the Carolinas in terms of player development and advancement. And I think the future is super bright in that regard.
Yeah, also too, iconic Carolina Hurricanes broadcaster Johnny Forsland had his son playing for the Carolina Eagles for several years in the USPHL. So yeah, a lot of those names are popping in there these days.
That's right. I mean, and that's good. People are giving back to the game. I think that's why Troy and myself, when we got aligned together, is because we share the same views. This game has done so much for us in our lives. We want to give back the best we can, and we're very, very fortunate. These are obviously tough times while we're trying to do it, but Very fortunate for hockey to have such an impact on our lives, and we want to give back the best way we can and do it the right way. And we feel that we have the model to do that. And Carolina Premier Hockey should be very exciting, and hopefully something we're talking about for a long time as well.
Ryan, anything else we want to touch base on that I might have forgotten? I know we went through a lot of different subjects, but this has been so informative to our Rush Nation parents, players, fans to hear from behind the scenes what's been going on, in particular the COVID crisis. But anything else you wanted to add tonight before we wrap it up?
No, I think we hit everything, Tim. I really appreciate you doing this, and I do think it's great for the families and fans and billet families to see where we're at. And I know it's hard times. This is no way to be living life right now, but we're going to get through it, and we're going to try and provide hockey as long as we can. And hopefully, like we mentioned earlier, we're not shut down. But coming back to Charlotte and wanting to get back and get involved, and never thought we'd be here, Tim,
Mhm.
and doing like this. Normally we're face to face in the office, and we're able to spend time together. But here we are, and we'll continue to do whatever we can to keep our players safe and our families safe, while continue to provide a product on the ice, and that hopefully we can continue to advance our players and develop them. And I think everyone knows that we are committed to do whatever is best for our players. They come first, and I want to thank you for all you do. I know your chapels have been affected by it, the Thanksgivings with the players, but I know better times are ahead, and I appreciate all that you do and the players do as well. And hopefully we're talking next week face to face after 4 wins in Hampton.
That'll be great, man. Yes, that'll be very nice. And Ryan, I will say this: out of all the people I've met, I don't think I've met anybody that's been as proactive as you. If there's anybody that'll figure out a way to get through COVID-19, it's going to be you and the Rush organization.
Now we're trying, so we'll keep it up.
Ryan, thank you again so much for being with us here to address these important topics. I know it's been very informative for our viewers. And again, we're going to send this out tonight. And also, folks, don't forget the Rush in Hampton Roads this weekend. So you can follow that on Hockey TV. And then we come back on December the 12th and the 13th. Looking forward to getting back on home ice. Hopefully that'll all take place. And we're going to continue on in these unprecedented times to plod forward and, again, enjoy the game that we love. Ryan Crothers, general manager and owner of the Charlotte Rush, with these updates. Thanks again, Ryan, and good success this weekend in Hampton Roads.
Thanks, Tim.
Again, go to our Charlotte Rush social media platforms for complete information on the Charlotte Rush. And don't forget to go to our Rush YouTube channel and the United States Premier Hockey League website as well. So, for owner Ryan Crothers, general manager of the Charlotte Rush, I'm Tim Donnelly, voice of the Charlotte Rush. Thanks so much for watching our Zoom/podcast tonight, and we'll see you next time.